Alrighty, welcome everybody to my final project presentation. And by everybody, I mean YouTube, Professor Anthony, Professor Liska, and my few visual cues around the room. I could not conduct an audience today, being that everybody that I tried to ask was at work. So we're just gonna have to do it like this. So the course material said for me to do fire extinguishers, so I'm gonna do the different classes of fire extinguishers. I think as far as those, I think that's what's more important to talk about, or most important. So yeah, every fire is not the same. We got to use different extinguishers for different fires and different situations. There's different classes. We got 5 in total: A, B, C, D, E. I'm just kidding. There's no E. There's K. Goes to K. So yeah, there's 5 different classes. Yeah, every fire is not the same, man. You got to use the right extinguisher for the right fire, right tool for the right situation. That's why we got screwdrivers. That's why we got hammers. That's what my old man used to say. So first we're gonna go into class A. All right, these are your most common fires. These are your household fires. This is gonna be, you just burnt something a little too much on the stove, and now you got to reach under the sink and get that little small red one. I believe every single household should have a Class A fire. These are gonna put out your wood, plastic, trash, those types of simple types of fire. Every single house should have one. These are gonna be your most common. Class A extinguishers are usually water-based. That's why I say you can maybe use water for these types of fires, but usually you should have a fire extinguisher for, a fire. Next we're gonna move on to Class B extinguishers. These are the foamy ones. These are the ones that all the workshops and the auto mechanic shops have. These are for your grease and your oil fires. You wanna use these because guess what's one thing that grease hates in nature? Water. You do not want to use water for these fires. If you throw it on grease/oil, it may make it worse. So that's why you always want to get a Class B. Again, these are going to be for your garages, workshops, auto mechanic spills, those types of things. If you got a fire in there, you want to use a nice foamy extinguisher. Get those flames extinguished. Yeah. So next we're gonna move on to Class C. Class C, these are gonna be your electrical fires. This is they don't always happen when you just stick a fork in the outlet. All right, these are going to be your types of fires where you got a broken wire in your attic, or a 1 in a million malfunction with your fan. These types of things. I have seen a Class C fire firsthand. And I advise that person, do not throw water on that, or you're going to make it worse for everyone. Class C fires are interesting because not only do they might cause harm to you, they might cause harm to your house. So you're going to want to get a Class C extinguisher for these. Very important. Once again, every single class has their own role and their own importance here. So yeah, Class C extinguishers, they're usually CO2 or a dry chemical types of things like that. Make sure you use those so your house doesn't burn down even more. Yeah, so moving on, we are going to go to Class D. All right, Class D is for when chemistry class goes bad. Yeah, these are going to be your laboratory and your science experiment failures. This is going to be when magnesium burns so damn hot that you cannot use water to put it out. These extinguishers are specially made to handle these chemical fires. Some of these chemicals burn at obscene temperatures, so you don't want to use water. Probably won't even get close to it. Use that Class D extinguisher from a distance. Be safe. Save everyone in the class. Everyone wants to make it to junior year. So yeah, those are your laboratory experiments. They also use dry powder agents too. I forgot to mention that. I'm gonna try and go over what they're all based on as well. Class K Class K is easy to remember. K is for kitchen. This one hits a little home for me because I work in a kitchen. So Class K is going to be for your flat top grills, you know, your fryers, your charbroils, your toasters, your melts, you know, things like that. You're going to want to use the Class K, and by the way, these things are huge. They're big and silver. They're hand cannons. All right, we have 4 of them in our hood suppression system. Yeah, they're going to be used to put out those kitchen fires. You're going to save yourself. You're going to save your manager. You know, you're going to save your coworkers. You're going to save Miss Nancy eating her salad at booth 59. Yeah, Class K are going to be for your kitchens, and you're going to want to use those because, once again, grease and oil, they do not mix. A grease fire is really not good. They spread very fast. So yeah, just as an overview, as a retake here, we're gonna just quickly go over all of them. So Class A, remember, those are your basic, most common extinguishers there. They're gonna be going over all the most common fires, the small households. Every household should have one. Schools, libraries, any types of place. Remember, those are your plastic, trash, wood, you know, cloth fires, those types of things like that. Moving on, we're gonna go to Class B, flammable liquids, garages, workshops, auto mechanics, all those types of things. All right, Pep Boys. Those are grease fires. You don't want to put water on those again. Grease and water do not mix, so you're gonna have a Class B in the back of the garage just in case something happens. Class C, remember, those are the electrical fires. That's when the fire starts in the attic out of nowhere because, you know, a wire sparks, catches a little bit of that insulation. Now you're smelling smoke while you're trying to watch the Looney Tunes. Yeah, so those are gonna be for your household, you know, electrical, those types of things. Class D, remember, those are your metal fires. Industrial buildings, chemistry class, laboratory, those types of things. When those fires get to those super hot temperatures, you don't want to use water on those. It could just, you know, make everything worse. We got special chemicals inside of those for that. And then, yeah, moving on to Class K. Your best friend when the grease decides to ruin everyone's day. Class K is for kitchen. Those are going to be in the back, near the grill, near the manager's office. That's what the Class K is for. So we got A, B, C, D, and K. Those are all different classes. Source material said to do it on the fire extinguishers. Once again, I think this is the most important. And I wanted to thank you, Professor Anthony and Professor Liska, for your understanding. Sorry I don't have an audience, but this is gonna have to do. Hopefully YouTube learns a little bit from this as well if I get any types of views. But once again, that's my final project. And thank you so much for taking the time and letting me explain this to you. I hope you learned something. Thank you.